A homeless man stopped me the moment I stepped off my porch, his hand lifted in a hesitant warning. "Ma'am, don't start that car. Someone messed with it." His voice shook like he knew more than he should. I froze, my keys cold in my palm, the morning quiet settling around us. I didn't ask questions. I didn't need to. Something in his eyes told me the danger wasn't a misunderstanding, and the person behind it wasn't a stranger. I thanked him softly, slipped my keys into my purse, and walked back inside to call a cab to the inheritance meeting. The ride over felt heavier than the gray November sky pressing against the windows. "I'm glad to have you here. Follow my story until the end, and comment the city you're watching from. Sometimes knowing where a story travels reminds us we're not alone." The downtown law office sat on the corner of Maple and 3rd, its windows polished to a shine that reflected the pale morning light. As I stepped into the lobby, the marble floor gleamed under my shoes, far too bright for a day that already felt wrong. I had imagined this meeting would be solemn, respectful, a final gesture of closure after losing my husband of 42 years. Instead, an unease curled beneath my ribs, steady and cold. My daughter-in-law, Marissa, stood near the reception desk. She wasn't supposed to see me arrive, not yet. But when her eyes landed on me, safe, unharmed, breathing, her smile flickered for half a second. Just half. Enough to tell me the homeless man hadn't been mistaken. Enough to tell me she had expected a very different outcome to my drive that morning. I didn't confront her. I didn't even slow my steps. I simply nodded in greeting and made my way toward the conference room, my hands steady, my pulse calm. Let her think I didn't know. Let her believe I was still the quiet woman who never questioned, never pushed back. For now. The conference room felt colder than the lobby, the kind of cold that settled into the corners of a place meant to look prestigious. I took a seat at the long oak table, smoothing the sleeves of my coat while the quiet pressed in around me. The chair my husband used to choose during meetings stood empty across from me, and for a moment, the memory of him, steady, warm, certain, rose like a soft ache behind my ribs. I kept my hands folded, my back straight. Grief was still there, but it no longer swallowed whole. It simply lived beside me. Marissa slipped into the room a minute later, her heels tapping a little too loudly on the floor. She chose a seat farther down the table, pretending to scroll through her phone, pretending not to glance at me every few seconds. Her tension moved like a small current through the room, brushing against the edges of my awareness, but not quite reaching me. I let her fidget. I let her wonder how I'd arrived here without incident. Outside the glass wall, the city